Chinese President Xi Jinping will visit France, Serbia and Hungary next week. This will be Xi's first trip to Europe in 5 years. His aim is to boost ties with the European nations as economic tensions mount in the world's second-largest economy. Trade disputes between China and the European Union have soured relations in the past. But with next week's trip, Beijing is seeking to enhance China-Europe ties. The Philippines Coast Guard has accused China of harassment yet again. 2 Chinese Coast Guard vessels fired water cannons at a ship from the Philippines. The vessel sustained damage because of the Chinese water cannons. The incident took place in the disputed South China Sea or West Philippine Sea. The ship from the Philippines was on patrol near the contested Scarborough Shoal. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is headed to Jordan after departing Saudi Arabia. The U.S. top diplomat will meet Jordan's King Abdullah II and Foreign Minister Ayman Safadi in Amman. During his trip, Blinken will continue negotiations over a temporary truce in the Gaza war. Later in the day, Blinken will head to Israel. Columbia University has begun suspending students who are pro-Palestine. The students had set up tent encampments in the university's New York City campus, which they have refused to take down. The university declared a stalemate in talks to end the protests. The crackdown at Columbia comes amid a wave of protests across American universities. A new report suggests that North Korean missiles were used in an attack against Ukraine on January 2nd this year. The report cites documents from the United Nations. A UN study concluded that some debris it found was from a North Korean Hwasong-11 series missile. Although the report does not specify where the missile was fired from, Ukraine says it was launched from Russia. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says Russia is taking advantage of the slowdown in weapon deliveries to Kyiv. He has called on the United States and other allies to ramp up aid deliveries. Zelensky wants to destroy what he called Russian terrorist ambitions. Zelensky made the comments while speaking alongside Jens Stoltenberg, the chief of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO. Stoltenberg also pressed for accelerated deliveries of aid to Ukraine. Meanwhile, a Russian missile hit an educational institution in the Ukrainian Black Sea port of Odessa yesterday. At least 4 people were killed and about 28 were injured. Videos show firefighters battling the flames that engulf the roof of the building. Local reports say the roof is now nearly destroyed. Scotland's First Minister Humza Yousaf has resigned as leader of the Scottish National Party. Yousaf said he has ordered his party to choose a replacement. His resignation came after a week of chaos following his decision to scrap a coalition agreement with the Scottish Green Party. Yousaf was also due to face a no-confidence vote later this week. Manasseh Sogavare, the incumbent Prime Minister of the Solomon Islands, has bowed out of the prime ministerial race. Sogavare announced his decision in a televised news conference. It came as the country's lawmakers are due to vote for their next Prime Minister on Thursday. Earlier this month, Sogavare's party failed to secure a majority in the Solomon Islands general elections. Ecuador has taken Mexico to the International Court of Justice. This is over Mexico's decision to grant asylum to Ecuador's former Vice President Jorge Glass. Ecuador has asked the UN tribunal to declare Mexico's actions illegal. Earlier this month, Glass was arrested after the Ecuadorian police stormed the Mexican embassy in Quito. Glass had been living in the embassy since December. At least 25 people have died in a bus crash in the South American nation of Peru. About 13 others have been injured. Authorities say the bus overturned and fell down a slope into a river. This marks Peru's deadliest highway accident in 2 years. Four police officers have been killed in the U.S. state of North Carolina. They succumbed to their injuries after they were shot, another 4 officers have been injured. The officers were shot while they were carrying out investigations against a convicted felon for possessing a firearm. The suspect fired at them with a high-powered rifle. Following this, the police returned fire and shot the suspect dead. In climate news, at least 46 people died after a makeshift dam burst in the flood-hit country of Kenya. The region's governor said that 110 people who sustained injuries are in the hospital. The dam burst near the town of Mai Mahiya, sending torrents of mud and water down a hill. The deluge devastated a village by cutting off roads, uprooting streets, and washing away homes. The Indian region of Jammu and Kashmir has been hit by landslides and flash floods. This is because of non-stop rain and snowfall in the region. The Srinagar-Jammu highway was closed after debris fell on the road. The closed highway is the only all-weather road that links Kashmir with the rest of India. Several countries in Asia are battling a severe heat wave. In India, at least 2 people have died in the state of Kerala. This is because of heat stroke. Several zoos have made special arrangements for animals to help them stay cool. Meanwhile, Bangladesh has been baking in the searing heat for over a week. In the Philippines, business owners say that the ongoing heat wave has impacted their earnings because residents are reluctant to step out of their homes. Myanmar experienced its hottest ever April temperature yesterday. The mercury touched 48.2 degrees Celsius in the town of Chowk. Authorities say that this is the highest temperature recorded in 56 years. Experts say that human-induced climate change has led to the intense levels of heat. Vietnam's coffee farmers are facing water shortages. The places where they fetch water from have touched critically low levels. This happened after they increased the use of water amid excessive dryness. The climate change-induced dryness has caused a severe water deficiency, which in turn has caused nutrient imbalances in the coffee plantations. China has been battling extreme weather conditions in the past few weeks as well. After heavy flooding, now a hailstorm has hit China's southern Jiangxi province. The hailstone smashed windows in several cars. Meanwhile, the northern Hebei province was blanketed in snow. Temperature in some areas went as low as -5 degrees Celsius. England has received an unprecedented amount of rainfall so far this year. Farmers in the country are struggling to save their harvest amid the severe downpours. Crops in some farms have completely been wiped away. Authorities expect wheat yields to go down by 15% this year in the UK. Winter barley and oilseed rape have seen a 22% and 28% drop respectively. This means the prices of beer, bread and biscuits will eventually rise. The G7 countries will wrap up their climate talks in Italy today. Here are the highlights from the meeting. Delegates have discussed the plans for setting up a water coalition to tackle the global water crisis. The participants also addressed the impact of fast fashion on the climate. According to reports, G7 countries have also agreed on a timeline to phase out the use of coal-fired power plants. In business and tech news, the European Commission is reportedly planning to launch a probe into Meta's social media platforms, Facebook and Instagram. This is over the platform's failure to do enough to counter disinformation from Russia. The European Union's regulator thinks that Meta's content moderation is not robust enough to counter fake news. The regulator is concerned about attempts to suppress voting ahead of EU elections in June this year. South Korea's Samsung Electronics has reported a 10-fold rise in its first quarter profits. The firm earned over $4.8 billion in profits in the first 3 months of this year. Samsung's memory chip sales almost doubled during the quarter. The chipmaker expects these sales to remain strong going forward. Samsung says that the demand for artificial intelligence will drive the sales of its chips and gadgets for the rest of this year. American tech giant Microsoft has announced a $1.7 billion investment in Indonesia. The firm plans to expand its data centers and cloud computing business in the country. The investment was announced during Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella's ongoing visit to Indonesia. Nadella is scheduled to visit Malaysia and Thailand later this week. A U.S. road safety regulator has launched a probe against Ford's driver assistance technology, which is called Blue Cruise. Blue Cruise allows drivers to take their hands off the steering wheel while driving. Recently, this technology was involved in 2 fatal crashes of Ford's Mustang Mach-E. The U.S. regulator will evaluate 130,000 Mustangs to determine whether the technology poses safety risks. From 2029, all new cars and trucks in the U.S. will be required to have automatic emergency brakes. This is according to a new U.S. federal safety regulation which was announced yesterday. The emergency braking system should have sensors that can apply the brakes to avoid a collision if the driver fails to do so. The U.S. National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has said that the new rules will save at least 360 lives and prevent at least 24,000 injuries annually. The Chinese electric vehicle maker BYD released its quarterly earnings report yesterday. It has missed market estimates. The EV maker reported an almost 4% rise in revenue for the first quarter of this year. It is the slowest revenue growth that BYD has seen in the last 4 years. This comes as the Chinese firm sharply reduced its car prices amid intense competition. Noel Quinn, the CEO of British banking giant HSBC, has announced his retirement. Quinn has led the bank for the last 5 years. His retirement announcement comes as HSBC is undergoing a business overhaul. Recently, the banking giant sold its operations in Canada. It has also announced plans to sell operations in Argentina. Shares of the American pizza chain Domino's rose by 8% yesterday. This was after the firm reported strong quarterly earnings for the first quarter of this year. The company reported a close to 6% rise in revenue in Q1 compared to a year ago. Domino's says that promotional schemes like Boost Weeks, which offer 50% discounts, helped its performance. The American entertainment firm Paramount Global has replaced its CEO, Bob Bakish. He has been replaced with 3 top executives. This includes the president and CEO of CBS, George Cheeks, Paramount Pictures Studio Chief Brian Robbins, and the head of Paramount's TV networks, Chris McCarthy. The reshuffle comes as Paramount Global is in the middle of merger negotiations with the entertainment firm Skydance Media. Meanwhile, the American media firm NBC Universal is reportedly bidding on basketball. NBC is planning to pay $2.5 billion annually for the broadcast rights of NBA games. The broadcasting rights deal between the NBA and Warner Brothers expired last week. Warner Brothers was paying about $1.2 billion annually for the NBA broadcasting rights. Moving to sports, we start with cricket and the Indian Premier League. Kolkata Knight Riders beat Delhi Capitals by 7 wickets yesterday. Delhi skipper Rishabh Pant won the toss and opted to bat first. KKR restricted Delhi to 153 for 9 in 20 overs. Spinners Sunil Narine and Varun Chakravarti led Kolkata's bowling attack. During Kolkata's innings, Phil Salt smashed 68 of just 23 balls. KKR wrapped up their chase in 16.3 overs. Australia's cricket board has announced major changes to its women's cricket program. There's a pay hike for women cricketers who will now earn an average salary of $160,000. A new domestic T20 competition has been introduced as well. Cricket Australia also aims to increase its total revenue from women's cricket by $100 million. In football, Barcelona secured a 4-2 home win over Valencia in Spain's La Liga yesterday. Fermin Lopez drew first blood for Barca 22 minutes into the game. Valencia then struck twice through Hugo Duro and Pepelu to take the lead. Even though Valencia entered for half-time with the lead, they had a player sent off just before the whistle. After the game resumed, Barca made their numerical advantage count. Robert Lewandowski scored a second-half hat-trick to take the game away from Valencia. Bayern Munich are set to host Real Madrid in the first leg of their Champions League semi-final. The blockbuster clash is set to take place tonight at the Allianz Arena. The Champions League is Bayern's only remaining hope of silverware this season. Bayern Munich and Real Madrid have played against each other 26 times in the Champions League. Bayern have won on 12 occasions and Madrid have won on 11. Brazilian defender Thiago Silva will be leaving the English Premier League club Chelsea at the end of this season. The 39-year-old joined Chelsea in August 2020 after leaving Paris Saint-Germain on a free transfer. Thiago Silva has made 151 appearances for Chelsea and has won the Champions League, Club World Cup and Super Cup with the Blues. In tennis, women's world number 1 Iga Swiatek is through to the quarterfinals at the Madrid Open. The Pole defeated Spain's Sara Sorribes Tormo 6-1, 6-0. Swiatek needed just 68 minutes to seal the win. She will now play the 11th seed Brazil's Beatriz Haddad Maia in the last 8. Tennis legend Rafael Nadal has entered the round of 16 at the Madrid Open. The Spaniard battled past Argentina's Pedro Cachin 6-1, 6-7, 6-3 to reach the 4th round. It was a stern 3-hour-long battle that tested Nadal's tenacity. He next faces the Czech Republic's Jiří Lehečka. Men's world number 2 Jannik Sinner is also through to the 4th round of the Madrid Open. The Italian downed world number 72 Pavel Kotov 6-2, 7-5 in straight sets. Sinner was spotted stretching his hip several times, and after the match, Sinner admitted that he had been uncomfortable. Sinner will next play 16th seed Karen Khachanov in the round of 16. India beat reigning Olympics champion South Korea 5-1 in the Archery World Cup. Team India clinched the gold in the men's team recurve category. The trio of Dheeraj Bommadevara, Praveen Jadhav and Tarundeep Rai represented India. This was India's first gold in archery at a World Cup stage in 14 years. A boxing match scheduled between former champion Mike Tyson and YouTuber Jake Paul has been sanctioned as a professional bout. This means the outcome of the bout will be added to both their records. The highly anticipated match between Tyson and Jake Paul is scheduled to take place in Texas on July 20th this year. The match will consist of 8 2-minute rounds and both participants will have to use 14-ounce gloves. In entertainment news, the super-hit cartoon series Scooby-Doo is making a comeback. According to reports, a live-action film is also under development. The film will likely be a 1-hour drama project. It will stream on Netflix. The upcoming series Heera Mandi The Diamond Bazaar premiered in Los Angeles. Director Sanjay Leela Bhansali along with Lily Singh and Sharmin Sehgal attended the event. The story is set in Pakistan and it follows the life of courtesans in Lahore's red light district. The series will start streaming on Netflix from tomorrow. According to Amazon Prime Video, Fallout has garnered a viewership of 65 million. The series achieved this feat in merely 15 days after its release. The story follows the life of people 200 years after an apocalypse. The show has been renewed for a second season. The makers of Mufasa the Lion King have released the film's first trailer. The film is the prequel to The Lion King, which released 3 decades ago. The story revolves around The Lion King Simba's father, Mufasa. The film will release in December this year. It looks like Taylor Swift isn't in the mood to stop breaking records. The songs from her album, The Tortured Poets Department, have claimed the top 14 spots of the Billboard Hot 100 chart. The rest of the album, which consists of 31 songs, also have a spot in the top 100 list. The album released on the 19th of April this year. Singer Billie Eilish has announced the dates for her upcoming tour, Hit Me Hard and Soft. Her tour will start in September in Canada and wrap up in 2025 in Ireland. She will be donating a part of her earnings to an environmental non-profit organization. The English rock band The Rolling Stones have begun their official tour of 2024. The band's first concert took place in the U.S. state of Texas. Their performance lineup consists of the band's new and old iconic songs. The Rolling Stones will be traveling to places like Seattle, Las Vegas, and Chicago in the U.S. The biggest day of the fashion industry, the 2024 Met Gala, will take place within a week. Rihanna has shared her plans for the day. She revealed that she has planned to keep it simple this year. She stated that her makeup and hairstyle will define her appearance. The event will take place on the 6th of May. The Weeknd has donated $2 million to provide food for humanitarian support in Gaza. The donation was given to the United Nations World Food Programme. They will be able to provide at least 150,000 Palestinians with wheat flour. Back in December, he had donated $2.5 million for the same cause. The people of the Japanese capital, Tokyo, celebrated Godzilla's 70th anniversary. To mark the occasion, a 100-meter-tall image of Godzilla was projected onto a government building. The fictional monster is the tourism ambassador of Tokyo's Shinjuku ward.
From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up.
We're beating Biden.
How dare he say that?
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on First Post America.